All I want any recruiter to know is that I'm so much more than just my resume.
Lol. Come on. We both know that all these recruitment platforms are only designed for the companies to get what they want.
They don't care about candidates like us. Not all, buddy. Have you heard of TAG?
Karan Roy, data scientist. Tag score 96%. Interesting.
That's me. And thanks to TAG, now she knows all about my functional, behavioral, technical, and all other relevant skills. TAG indeed is a game changer for me. When I signed up for it, it created this structured, validated, and enriched profile mapped across my numerous skills, knowledge base, and work experience, and created a score. My TAG score. The score and profiling help me present my best professional version to any employer. They can easily find what they need, and if I'm the right fit, my profile shows up instantly. This way, TAG not only helps candidates like me land their dream jobs, but also figure out where they stand amongst their peers and also identify the areas they need to work on.
Wow, this is just the kind of candidate I need. I like how detailed his profile is. Should I even interview this guy?
See? This is how TAG is bringing clarity, communication, and dignity back for us candidates. It also gives me an access to a community of peers, career circles, thousands of jobs, and marquee employers like her to further aid my career growth.
Are you kidding me? Did you just get hired within minutes?
Hi, good evening, friends. Welcome to Career Circles Live 11th episode. Thanks for joining us. My name is Sachin Vashisht, and I will be your host for today's session. As you know, Career Circles are exclusive talent communities by TAG, where each one of you can connect with industry leaders, working professionals across domains, and peer recruiters. Career Circles Live is a series of conversations featuring industry experts and mentors who provide valuable tools, insights, and actionable advice to help you succeed in your career. Whether you are just starting out in your field or looking out to advance to the next level, Career Circles Live is the perfect opportunity to take control of your professional journey. Without much delay, let us kickstart episode 11 of Career Circles Live. Our topic for today's discussion is accessing next generation skilled talent. Joining us today are two industry experts from India's leading higher education provider, Sunstone, known for providing upskilling curriculum, training programs, and tools to academic institutions in India. Sunstone is ensuring job ready professionals. And it is with the utmost pleasure that we welcome our speakers, Abhishek Banerjee, VP Student Outcomes, Sunstone, and Vishal Goyal, VP and National Head of for Placements, Sunstone. Welcome, Abhishek.
Thank you so much, Sachin. Always happy to be part of such an enriching discussion. Thank you so much.
Sure. Abhishek is an experienced management consultant with over a decade and a half experience in corporate finance, strategy consulting, and project management. Currently, he is heading training and placements at Sunstone. Next, we have with us Vishal. So, Vishal
Hello
Goyal.
everyone.
Hi, Hi Vishal. So Vishal Goyal is an out-and-out corporate relations professional, having spent close to 16 years developing and nurturing key accounts for leading B schools of India like ISB Hyderabad, IMT Dubai, and BITS Pilani. Thank you so much for joining us today, Abhishek and Vishal. Uh,
Our
So,
pleasure.
Our absolute pleasure to be here.
sure. So, in the next 40 to 50 minutes, we will be discussing all about the current skill gaps and how Sunstone is collaborating with companies to bridge the skill gap and helping recruiters find the best talent and much more. So, this is going to be an interactive session. So, at any point in time you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll ensure you get an answer. So let's start with Abhishek. So before we start, Abhishek, I'm sure our audience would like to know a little more about Sunstone. So why don't we start with the to set the pretext?
Sure. Thanks so much, Sachin. And I welcome all of our guests, participants who have joined online. Welcome to this session. Um, some quick context. So, Sunstone started off about 3 years ago, and the thesis that it started off with, that we started off with, was that there is definitely a gap somewhere in the higher education space, in the higher education ecosystem, where there is a definite lack of trust or an area of opportunity to improve the skills and employability of the students. The focus, while rightfully so, on academic excellence is there, but is that sufficient to make students employable, especially in this current world where skills are evolving every few months, every few years? There's a lot of skills instability, and hence there is a need for a maybe a partner or a layer or a system which enhances the academia industry collaboration by being that right platform that bridges students and the corporates, and ensures that the students are having all the right tools, the exposure and the learning experience to make them employable. So that's how Sunstone started. We started off with 5 partner campuses. We partner with these institutions to run, manage, programs on their campus and ensure that the students' learning experience, whether it be through content, through assessments, through the right training and development, and through right corporate exposure through live projects and internships, the idea is to ensure that the learning experience of the students is enriched, and hence the student is employable and meeting the demands of the industry. So far we have grown to about 45 odd partner campuses across India, spread out across all the 4 corners of India. In fact, one of our objectives, and stated mission, is to bring success to every student. So, with that mission in mind, we actually want to go out into all the 4 corners of India and bring out all the right talent which is there to the forefront. We are all aware that industry and especially the uh, startup space is undergoing a huge upward trend as we speak. Economy is on a very strong growth path, and to ensure this growth path is sustained, we have to ensure that the right talent pool is available and ready to be deployed. So that's what we are working towards. We started off with MBA as one of our flagship programs in which we were partnering with institutions. We have since expanded these partnerships to BBA, BTech, BCom, BCA, among other programs, with the idea of ensuring, again, we are making some impact across all of the UG, undergraduate, and postgraduate space and meeting the very talent demands of corporate. So that, in nutshell, is a very very quick introduction. I'm sure as we speak further in this chat, we will reveal more about how we can help employability and help economy. So yeah, back to you, Sachin.
So as thank you so much, Abhishek. And as I'm representing the recruiters community, so I have some questions which I definitely want to understand in this session, so that all the recruiter community can get benefited from this conversation. So first thing first, like since today's discussion is all about finding next generation skilled talent, what is your take on the current employability situation?
Right. Very interesting, question, I think, to start off with, and I think the most fundamental question, in fact, facing the industry today, and of course the academia. Um, Employability, we recently partnered on India Skills report which came out, and very happily, employability as measured by that assessment puts it at 50% across the country, which is a jump up from 46 odd percent that it was in the last assessment. I think that's a very positive trend. I think we are seeing the benefits of all the efforts which are being put in the space of skilling, of employability, and of higher education. So I think that is starting to yield some results. Um, I think the current state of employability in India is a very interesting one. I think definitely one, we are on an uptrend. Two, I think on the institutional side, which is where I would put the academia and the corporates, I think there is a rightfully a lot of thrust on ensuring that the students are becoming more and more employable and more skilled, right? So there are a host of players in this space. There are a lot of interesting innovations and interventions that are happening at different scales across the space. We have seen a growth in the kind of small and very niche certifications now taking hold and gaining a lot of interesting currency, right, across the board, across different programs. I think we are also seeing a very clear push and effort in terms of academia stepping up and making these programs more and more relevant uh, towards the needs of the corporate. So there is a much quicker, let's say, timeline from what it was earlier to integrating industry needs in the current curriculum, although there is still a long way to go. In terms of employability, again, I think tech is playing a lot of interesting interventions or disruptions in this space, right? I think so far education was probably one of the least penetrated spaces by technology. But now technology, and to not go into a cliche, but AI and all these advanced uh, technologies and intelligent technologies are actually enabling us to do a lot of things which were not possible earlier, right? So undertaking a detailed understanding of skill sets required, understanding how each individual, and in fact numerically measuring how each individual student and learner is performing. These are all the things which we are now able to do. So I think employability is a space, I think, seeing a lot of innovation, a lot of disruption from an institutional side. And in terms of the definition itself, I think we are moving more and more closer towards more specific definitions of employability itself. I think industries uh, gradually becoming more and more crystallized in terms of what this means. So I just see that I think there's a lot of positive momentum around employability, and I think very soon these will also start to yield results. So I think, yeah, very very excited about where things currently stand, and a lot to look forward in the next couple of years.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Abhishek. So let's move to the freshers hiring market. Like, what changes are you expecting in the freshers hiring market in times to come, Abhishek?
Right. So I just want to quote something. Deloitte mentioned, I think, in one of their earlier reports, was that there's a gradual cognitive revolution that is happening. Right. Generally, in terms of the kind of work that we are doing, and more so, I think there's a first very clear movement towards greater value add, right? So every job domain, every job description is actually moving more and more towards value add, right? Even at entry levels, the fresher requirements from freshers is actually moving more upwards of the value chain, upwards in the value chain. Freshers are now expected to add more value right at the door once they come in. And it's not just being able to do the basic activities and routine tasks, but being able to think critically, being able to problem solve, being able to take a leadership position even in their existing roles, having empathy. These are, I think, elements which are coming up. So definitely there is greater requirement for even freshers to be more and more skilled as their roles are becoming more and more demanding as we speak. So that is one, I think, very clear trend. Of course, the thrust on digital literacy and knowledge of tools and technologies continues. Technology is, like, we read so often, disrupting every industry out there, right? So no matter which sector you are in, you are leveraging technology primarily to do your work more effectively, more efficiently. So digital literacy is absolutely table stakes. You have to have it. You have to know the tools of your trade. You have to be fairly proficient in data visualizing, in basic analytics, in using all the latest tools of the trade. So I think that remains very, very strongly in flavor and will continue to do so. um, Importance also on, let's say, being able to communicate and work well within teams. I think that's another thrust that will be there. We also see a lot of movement back to offline hiring. So now, stepping a bit away from the job role and moving more towards hiring as a process. I think there's a very clear cut movement towards back towards offline. Last couple of years we saw a lot of processes and hiring happening online and through hybrid mode and all of that. But I think there's a very clear trend shift back towards offline hiring and working offline. And I think that's again a very clear departure this year, the way we are seeing it. I think at a broader level also, I think there's a wider third shift which I would say is towards proof of work. I think it is slowly gaining traction. It's already gaining currency in the technology space. But I think proof of work, being able to demonstrate practical application versus just, let's say, having academic grades and academic performance, I think that is also something gaining currency very rapidly. And I fully expect that in the next couple of recruitment cycle, that will become like a forefront and a primary measure of how fresher talent is evaluated and hired. So when we say proof of work, maybe showcasing some portfolio, maybe showcasing some project somebody has done, or maybe an assignment which has been a real world, which has solved a real world problem, business problem. I think that has come to the forefront. So yeah, I think these are broad sort of trends that we are seeing in fresher hiring. Again, just to close off, I feel, and what we have seen so far, not really much impacted in terms of the shifts in, let's say, the Western and European markets. India remains on a healthy domestic growth path, and that reflects in fresher hiring trends as well. So yeah, those are I think a very quick recap of what we see in fresher hiring trends.
Oh, absolutely, Abhishek, and I completely second your thoughts because in freshers, apart from freshers, also, and being a recruiter myself, I have seen that these kind of skills, what you're talking about, be it visualization, data analytics, data scientist, and all those kind of skills, I think a lot of people are writing in their resume that they are data scientists and they are
Yeah,
data analytics, but actually they are fudging their resumes and they are not even knowing anything about data analytics and data science. I have seen with my experience, I'm sharing that people doesn't even know what is the basic difference between a data scientist and a data analytics.
yeah.
Right. So very well said. I completely second your thoughts, and let's move to the next question so that we can cover all those questions which are there in my mind, and we'll not skip
So
any because this is an opportunity for me to at least have those questions in for the audience as well. So
absolutely.
next question, like, what changes? So what are some of the skill sets that were in demand in 2022, and what skills do you expect to be in demand in 2023?
Right. So very important, question, and again, I would say one of the fundamental questions in the industry right now. I'll answer it in a few parts. I see, one part is where I think, as an industry, first the skill set definitions themselves are evolving and becoming more specific. um, we definitely see that trend where industry is also making that effort to make define these skill sets very specifically, and we see a very clear shift in terms of fresher hiring, where I think fewer of the of course there continues to be a thrust on the domain specific skills, but I think a greater thrust is on some of these softer and meta skills, as I would say it, compared to core domain skills. So the conversation that we hear is that, we can teach them XYZ technology. I need somebody who can learn quickly, right? So I think
Absolutely.
that's a very clear shift. So if I were to take that thought further, what we are seeing is basically a demand for largely first in terms of skills, I would say problem solving and structuring. So that remains, I think, one of the most sought after and critical skills for freshers, because every role is now focusing on solving problems. It's like I said, less about routine tasks are largely getting automated. um, it's your ability to analyze a problem, analyze a situation, solve a problem, structure it for it to be solved through maybe technology. I think that's a skill which has of late gained significant predominance and across job roles. I am talking right from, let's say, an engineer hired for, let's say, coding an application, to a HR recruiter, fresher recruiter position being filled, to an, let's say, entry level corporate finance analyst role. I think the core skills are very much being handled. So you need to have core skills, but that is, your routine tasks are getting largely automated, right? So for, let's say, a valuation analyst, the model is very much in place. You don't have to build a DCF model from scratch. What you do need to know is your model working right? Are the inputs right? Your ability to understand the market and question the inputs of the model, that is a skill which analysts entry level are being asked to possess. The second, which of course remains and probably is given getting even more significant, is the need for effective communication skills. Every job role demands you communicate effectively, and not just in English but in vernacular as well, right? I think it has come out very clearly that even in industries where, let's say, heretofore, logistics, operations, warehousing, roles where comms was sort of a second took a second seat, but these days comms has come out at the forefront. You need to be able to communicate very well, because you are interacting with multiple teams across the board, across different regions. So very, very important for you to be able to communicate verbally, but also write very well, right? So I think more and more of us are actually articulating problems, articulating solutions, and hence the need for effective communication is something that has clearly emerged as one of the top two. The third, I would say, is also coming a lot from the remote and hybrid workplace that we saw, is ability to teamwork. So your ability to work with cross-functional teams, with teams based across India and abroad, whether virtually, in person, hybrid, remains very, very important for you to succeed. So nobody does that entire job in a silo, right? We are all moved to a very, very specialized functions being served. And I think most organizations these days have moved away from a siloed way of working to a more cross functional and a matrix way of working. So teamwork becomes even more important, remains most important, and which is being demanded. The fourth one, I would say, like I said, is digital literacy, where it gains a flavor as per the domains in which the students are, right? So let's say modeling skills, or being able to use basic analytics tools, being able to use the basic, let's say, research tools, visualizations, being able to use different, let's say, technologies to communicate better, to present well. These are all have gained a lot of importance. Apart from these skills, I think there are a few other softer aspects which are being um, asked by the recruiter side, it might not be on the face of the JD, but it's communicated very strongly to us as things like resilience, things like commitment. Right? We want freshers to go and perform well. We need them to be resilient. We need them to have the self-starting mindset and the early leadership abilities. Like, are they able to self-start in their roles? Are they able to function by themselves? Are they able to take charge of the situation? And then finally, I said learnability. Learnability has gained an immense importance these days. You have to be able to learn, relearn, unlearn, and that cycle continues. So yeah, these are the skills which we see currently in demand, continue to be very important. um, and we expect this to be so in the next coming few cycles as well.
Absolutely, Abhishek. So I think you put it in a very, very good framework that, okay, what actually we are looking at it. And in fact, uh, most of our clients are looking at these kind of skills that, okay, whether, so technically anybody can learn over the period of time. And but when it comes to the cohesive environment, collaboration with different teams, stakeholder management, all those things are very, very important. Also connecting the dots between the use cases with the business, that, okay, what is
Yeah.
happening and how this problem can be solved, looking at the business at the forefront. Those are the things I think you've made it very, very clear for us, and thank you so much. With this, we'll move to the next question. How is Sunstone helping in bridging the gap between industry and academia? So very important to understand, because that is where you have a very strong presence.
Right. So, I'll just hark back to the earlier point on how we started off with this entire thrust on ensuring that the students are employable. Um, I think I'll start from that perspective itself. So, I think we should. I think Sunstone can be visualized as that platform and that enabler, which is basically ensuring that the students' learning experience through the higher education system is enriched and meaningful in a way to make them job ready from day one. So when we look at things from that perspective, what we do is, what at Sunstone is that on one end we are connected very well to the corporate fraternity, to the recruitment fraternity. We are getting feedback on the kind of job roles, the kind of skills that are in demand right now. What is the changing landscape of hiring? Which are the sectors where we are seeing more hiring and more demand in the coming years? And then basically we aggregate all of this feedback into a sort of set of learnings for us, where uh, Sunstone has developed like an internal proprietary sort of tool which basically measures and maps these critical skills that are required as per the industry and economic trends. These critical skills that are required are mapped in terms of very specific measurable, I would say, like KPIs or data points, which are then linked to the students' learning outcomes. So if I'm, let's say, financial analyst, I'm studying in MBA finance and I want to be a financial analyst, we identify these 20 parameters which are currently in demand by the industry, very very specific, very very measurable parameters. These are then integrated into the program that the student is going through. From there on, we measure the students performance on these critical parameters. We design the teaching, the in class teaching, to be such as to bolster these parameters, these learning outcomes in the students. We also interface a lot with the corporates to ensure that the students are getting the right exposure, the right corporate exposure, and hands on practical experience of workplaces through live projects, through extended internships, which continue throughout a significant share of their academic program. So while the student is studying, they're also doing internships in parallel, where we are also hand holding them, guiding them on this journey, to make sure that by the time their program comes to an end, they are uh, highly ready in terms of they already have a significant sort of months of exposure to what workplace looks like, what are the role that they are getting into, or what are the roles that they are expected to work in, and have a very hands-on and practical exposure there. We also tie up with and collaborate with some of our corporate partners to define customized learning tracks for the students. These tracks typically integrate some specific topics or subjects, or let's say content, which are highly again industry relevant, may not be a part of the core curriculum, but then is added on top of what the student learns. And this is administered to the students over, let's say, 3 4 6 months of their program. So these are the ways in which I think if I were to summarize it all, um, we are able to understand what the industry demand is going to be in terms of these core skills as per domain, as per the, let's say, the subjects and the specializations, and then mapping these, integrating these very well within the curriculum, and making sure that the students learning journey through in class teaching, through, let's say, practical exposure, through live projects, through other assignments with the industry, are filling the students, are giving the students with the right kind of exposure, and are filling these metrics or the parameters that we have identified, so that in the end the student is moving in a very measurable way towards being more and more employable. And we are able to say with some confidence that yes, this student is employable to this extent, and hence will fit these certain roles and be productive from day one. So I think that's broadly in a nutshell, what so how we are trying to address the problem of employability and enhance employability.
No, absolutely, Abhishek. I think this is important because academics is something which people don't even know that what they would expect in the job market, and if they'll get to know, they get to learn a lot of things during their academic years. I think this will definitely help them to succeed in any job wherever they'll get the job. Let's move to the next question, which is like apart from the technical skills, how does Sunstone get a candidate ready for the job market? Is there any specific thing you've explained that how do you do it? But is there anything specific you do that so that the candidates are ready for the job market and they can be picked up immediately?
Right. So like I said, there are two parts to my answer. One is, of course, our focus on ensuring the students are having the right kind of practical exposure, hands-on experience. So we work with the students a lot on ensuring that they have practical exposure. They are, picking up specific demonstrable skill areas, and then working on specific business problems in these areas, so that they're able to apply their skills to the real world problems, and are able to demonstrate it later on in their professional careers. The second way to and the second way in which we work is, we work a lot with these students in terms of these softer aspects, right? Professionalism, and being a professional also involves a lot of behavioral and mindset parts, right? You must display certain behaviors. You must be a very well motivated, you must be self confident, you must be resilient. You must have a lot of commitment in you and follow through on your, let's say, commitments. You must display leadership skills. You must be having a very clear view of what your goals and objectives are for the next 2 to 3 years, and that your career paths are aligned with these goals. So these are the areas in which we work closely with the students right from day one of their admission, right, day one of their classroom. So we work very closely in class, out of class. We have a robust system where we are offering asynchronous and synchronous content learning experience online as well, in addition to what they undergo in class. And their classroom experience is also designed in a way to ensure that, apart from just training them on their core skills, we are also imbibing these behavioral and mindset attributes in them as their program proceeds, right? So classroom activities, and classrooms are heavily activity oriented. It's almost a 30/70 ratio, where we say we will do 2 hours of activity for every 1 hour of teaching. So definitely I think the thrust is there. The kind of classroom activities that these students undergo, and is all geared towards ensuring that we are ultimately turning out professionals. In fact, we like to look at them in class as future employees, not even as students, right? That's the
Absolutely.
kind of mindset we have also adopted, that no, let's not talk about students, they're all future employees, let's treat ourselves as employees only. So so yeah, I think that's what we are doing in addition to regular academics, which I think is working towards our objectives of making more employable students.
Sure. Okay, so now we'll go to Vishal because I think it's already been half an hour and haven't asked any questions from Vishal. So, so let's move to Vishal. So, Vishal, can you just tell us about your current presence across India? Like, how is Sunstone present in India? Like, is it a geography specific thing or is it like pan India presence do you have?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. And uh, yeah, so Sunstone has grown. It started, as Abhishek covered, 2019 we started, and we initially started with only 5 campuses. But with the roaring success we got, we grew up to 25 campuses, and now we are nearly around 50 plus campuses in India. And this is pan India presence. We are not constrained to any particular location, right from if we go from north, say Baddi University in Himachal Pradesh, to Assam Downtown University in Guwahati, to Monarch University in Ahmedabad, to Atlas India Ideal International College in Kerala. We have covered the length and breadth of the country. We are present in 35 plus cities in India, and currently we are catering to the requirements of 5,000 plus students. And next year we have larger numbers which are in the pipeline. So what we are talking about is, as Abhishek has already covered in detail, we are the employability aspect is one angle. The other angle is that Sunstone aims at reaching the tier B, tier C cities of the country, where, see, the IITs and IIMs of the world are already, they have no dearth of recruiters knocking at their doors for recruiting candidates. But because of the infrastructure situation in the country, and the resources available, not many institutes, not many cities have those kind of infrastructure available there. So we are covering the tier B, tier C cities of the country, and also ensuring that the students of these city are getting a national level kind of exposure. So we also have an in-house app. Whenever a recruiter shares any job description to us, it gets broadcasted to students from all our partner campuses. Thereby, all the students from across campuses can access that job description, can apply to it, and hence the presence is all over the country.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Vishal. I think this is very important because smaller cities, specifically, students at smaller cities and campuses which are there in the tier two, tier three cities, the exposure is very, very limited, right? IITs and IIMs, they don't need anyone, right? So
Yeah.
they are employable. The brand name itself says a lot of things about those students. But very well said that this is something which is important and which I think you guys are doing a great job. Uh, how was the year 2022 for you, and what kind of companies or industry are visiting the campuses you have partnered with, Vishal?
So, yeah, thank you so much for that question. 2022 was in some ways very challenging for the whole nation, the whole world, of course. It saw a lot of institutes going offline first. Some of them started coming, online first, and then some of them started coming back to offline mode. We When we started in 2019, immediately after that, the COVID struck. So we have experiment with both the offline as well as online mode. In fact, we also have a state of the art studio at our office, through which we are still offering a hybrid model. And many companies I have seen the value in this, where wherever they needed students to be interviewed on an offline mode, they could do that. but most of them, the recruiters have been in an online mode initially. They want to do the first round of interviews, through online mode, and then some of them also request an offline mode. When it comes to the year 2022, not only were we able to place our students very well, but we are very fortunate to have been able to foster our relationships with till now. If we talk about the total number of recruiters, we must have crossed more than 800 plus recruiters, and we generally are able to offer a more than 100% of offers to students. So we are very open in offering our students. Our motto is that we should be able to give them as many opportunities as possible. So after giving one opportunity, we continue to allow students to take dream offers. We continue to work together with them to understand what their career aspirations are, and see if there are other opportunities that they can, as per their skills, they can capture or not. So last year we got representation from more than, in fact, I mean, till now we have been able to get representation from more than 25 plus sectors, 50 plus job profiles, and we have kind of invested more than 1,000 plus hours of training to the students. So overall, if we talk about the kind of companies we get marquee recruiters, like some of the big fours, KPMG. We've got FMCG companies like PNG, Marico, Dabur, Panasonic, Nestle, Airtel, ANZ. From fintech companies, we have got Paytm, we have got Tata Group, we have got ICICI Bank. All the banks, you name a bank, possibly all of them are good recruiters with us. Genpact, and so on and so forth. So I think the advantage here is that all the industries and all the verticals, they require people at all levels. While they might be going to the IIMs and IITs for some high level recruitments, but for their masses, they need such kind of institutes and such kind of caliber which is available with us. So yeah.
Agreed, agreed, absolutely. So here we'll take a pause, and since there are some questions from audience, and we'll definitely uh, take those questions from audience. And the first question is like, how can recruiters get skilled industry ready talent from Sunstone?
Great. Let me take that. So we are an education partner for corporates. So think of us as an institution, right? We when we partner with these institutions and our partner campuses, we are basically ensuring that the students are with us in class for the entire duration of their program, where they are getting benefit of all the interventions and initiatives that we do with the students. Some of them I've already mentioned, right from revamping the content to how teaching is being done in class, to their assessments, to their training and development, to of course corporate exposure and placements. So we run typically campus recruitment programs. These are both offline, online, again multi-city, multi-location drives that we run. So reach out to us. We'll be happy to run one for you. You just need to get in touch and let us know what your requirements are, and we can run the recruitment drive, the campus placement drive. We have already kickstarted our placements for this year, and expect that to continue well into the next year as well. So that's how you can hire fresh talent from us. Just get in touch, and we are happy to do a recruitment drive for you
Sure.
across our partner campuses.
So Abhishek, I think you closely work with the campus hiring team of the corporates, so what you just mentioned.
Yes, so we work typically both with the campus hiring team and the TA teams as well. Like I said, we have a lot of we have these significant partner campuses across India, and each is staggered in terms of the way we conduct placements across each campuses. So we are able to meet the hiring demand across a wider span of time, right? It's not just restricted to, let's say, an October, November, December cycle, but starting right from, let's say, a late October, early November to stretching well into March of the following year. So we work on an extended timelines. We work on very flexible timelines, because our trust, like I said, the way these programs are structured together with the partners is to ensure that students can get the most corporate exposure, the most real life work experience that they can. So, so yes, that's how we do it. Again, like I would only want to say that reach out to us and we can, schedule a highly customized drive for you.
So audience knows that whom to reach out and how
Yes,
to
absolutely.
conduct it. So thank you so much, Abhishek. Thanks for throwing some light on it. There's a follow-up question. Quickly, I'll take that question, and then
Sure.
I have a set of different questions in my mind, which will take that question. Does Sunstone hold some job fairs, which you said like drives? You conduct drives for the
Right. So it's just like a typical campus recruitment model. Corporates come to us with certain profiles that they want to recruit, let's say freshers for, and we then conduct or help conduct these drives across our partner campuses. So it's as easy as, let's say, a click of a button where we are able to run a centralized process, because like I said, everything is tech enabled and can be done in a both hybrid, online plus offline, a purely offline or a purely online model as well.
perfect.
And I would like to
So,
add to that. See, a job fair means a company is looking for a certain skill set in students, and may not be able to get it in one college. So they want to club, say, certain 5, 7, 10 colleges which are generally in the same vicinity, and they call the students of these colleges. Sunstone in itself has more than 50 plus colleges. So in itself, it's a kind of a job fair.
job fair.
The motive of you sharing a job with me, JD with me, is that it is reaching, imagine it is reaching out to 5,000 plus students. And it's like the student is able to access the job description on his or her mobile, and with the ease of a click of a button they can easily apply to it. So instead of the company conducting a job fair in different regions, here we are bringing all the profiles from various nooks and corners of the country to their doorsteps without any financials involved. We don't charge the corporates any money on it. So it's a win-win for both the corporates as well as the student body. Both our stakeholders are happy here.
Perfect. So we are just left with around 10 12 minutes. So we should utilize this 10 12 minutes so that at least audience should gather more information about what you do and how you can help those people. So I'll take one question which is important to understand from a recruiter's community viewpoint. What are some of the benefits of partnering with Sunstone, Vishal, if in case you want to take this question?
Yeah, sure. So some of the benefits that Sunstone brings in, number one, because of the pan India presence, we bring in a lot of regional diversity. So I'll take a very simple example. You go towards Assam side, the students there are really very sharp, very good in communication, hungry for getting good competitive roles, and are willing to have happy to relocate towards the main the southern parts of India, or even Mumbai or any region. Uh, Many recruiters find it a little difficult or maybe constrained because of resources, that they are not able to recruit from those regions. We have our tie-ups where, as I covered earlier, right from Badi till Assam till Ernakulam in South Kerala to Ahmedabad, we have all these colleges. So not only are we bringing in regional diversity, but we are also bringing in gender diversity. And so males, females, the ratio of students here in our institute is one of the highest in India, I think. The other thing is, the second benefit will be the ease of recruiting from 50 plus colleges. Since you are a talent acquisition personnel yourself, and you would understand and agree that for many companies it becomes very difficult to make their acquisition or their business guys to travel to 15, 20 colleges to recruit people, especially if the numbers are less, or if it is a very, very entry level position. Sometimes they feel that for a Senior position, we might even go and take pains, but for our entry level position, we are indifferent. So we are bringing those 50 plus colleges at the doorstep of the corporate. That's the other second part of it. The third angle to it is that our turnaround time is very, very small. So the moment you give me a job description, because of the tech enabled environment that we have in the back end, we are able to map the requirements, the skill sets required by the company to the available pool of talent available in our system, and we are able to share at the moment the student clicks on the job description. It's an automated process. It becomes a folder. We are easily able to share it with the recruiters. We have gone live in many cases in a as short a period like maybe a 4 hour or a 6 hour drive, and maybe many cases where the recruiter gave us a job description in the afternoon today, and we were able to line up candidates tomorrow morning. So we can do that as well. There is also a very, very important angle that we are very proud of, is in some ways or the other we are helping solve the country a major problem, which is migration from a tier C city to a metro city. Because here what is happening is companies who have remote areas, presence in remote areas, they may have a dealer network, they may have a showroom, they may have a bank branch, they may have some other outlet there. Uh, if they send someone from a metro city at a very high package from a premier institute, possibility is that the person might not want to stay in a tier C city for a long period of time. The vice versa is true. Students from remote areas, when they come to metros, they incur a very high cost of living. They need to take something on rent. Their majority of their CTC gets consumed in rentals and existing. Whereas if they are getting a good job in their 50 to 100 kilometers of their radius of their where they live, they are saving cost on their rent, and they are happy to work with a good branded company at a decent package. So in a
Absolutely.
way, those students are not then forced to move to a metro city like Delhi, Bombay, to be able to earn a decent salary for themselves. There's one more advantage is that we are covering remotest of the locations in the country. That is something that many companies find it very advantageous, and they bank upon us. So we, in a way, we are a one-stop shop for many of the companies.
Absolutely. You covered it all, Vishal. I think so. We'll quickly, I think there are a lot of questions from audience as well. And we'll quickly take two more questions. One is like whether, let's say, is there any, is most of your talent pool freshers, or is it inclusive of talent with 1 or 2 years of work experience?
So yeah, great. So largely it is freshers, but when we include freshers, we typically talk about talent which is up to, let's say, 2 years of experience. So yes, while two plus would be, let's say, a smaller fraction. Our when we say freshers, it includes students with up to 2 years of work experience.
So this is pre-qualification experience, Abhishek?
Pre-qualification, so pre-program, and largely would apply to a postgraduate program. For an undergraduate, would be not relevant, but yeah, so it includes students with pre-qualification experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, last question from my side, Vishal, if you can just help us with that, or Abhishek, who say want to take that question. So, the growth that Sunstone has had since it was founded in 2019 is inspirational. Where is Sunstone heading? What are Sunstone's goals for the future?
Great. So I'll probably have a stab at it. I think we are ultimately focused on solving the employability challenge, on helping make the workforce more employable across the entire talent landscape of India. Right. We see the country is on a very strong economic growth path. All the right indicators are working for us. I think we have a great demographic dividend working for us. What we need to ensure, I think, educational infrastructure is also there. So all that is needed is, I think, the right platform to plug the employability problem and enhance employability for the students with the existing infrastructure. So I think that's where we are headed. Our objective is to a be a preferred hiring partner for the major corporates in India, right? We would want to become the preferred hiring partner. And two, for the student, I think we would want to become the preferred destination for their undergraduate and postgraduate programs. And together, I think the objective is to become that nationwide ecosystem or a platform which is connecting students, academia, corporates, all in a very cohesive structure, where each stakeholder can effectively work towards making students more employable, and in turn meeting the talent demand which exists across the country. So I think that's what our objective are for the immediate future.
Perfect. Good to hear this, and wishing you all the best, Vishal and Abhishek.
Thank you,
With
Sachin.
this,
Thank you.
with this, we come to an end of this exciting session. Thank you so much, Abhishek, Vishal, for joining us today and sharing your views. Thanks to all our audience for joining us, and we hope you can find the talent you're looking for from the wide range of job-ready freshers with Sunstone. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great weekend. This is Sachin, Abhishek,
Thank
and
you, everyone.
Vishal signing off. Have a
Thank you,
great
everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
thank you.